Hey everyone, welcome in. Today, we're taking a deep dive into something that's crucial for any business, really, but especially for those in the IT and cybersecurity world. We're talking about strategic rebranding for managed service providers and managed security service providers, or MSPs and MSSPs for short. You know, the folks who keep businesses humming along smoothly and safely in our increasingly digital world.
Right.
We're going to unpack a blog post today called Future-Proofing Your MSPM SSP Through a Strategic Rebrand.
Good stuff.
And just a level set here. If you're not familiar, MSPs handle things like your network, your computers, your cloud services, making sure everything is up to date and running without a hitch.
Yeah.
And MSSPs, they're your cybersecurity specialists,
Right.
focused on keeping your data safe from all those nasty threats lurking out there.
That's right. And this blog post is all about how these vital players can stay ahead of the curve in a landscape that's changing at lightning speed.
Exactly. And I was really struck by this idea that successful MSPs and MSSPs aren't just reacting to the latest tech trends, they are actively out there researching and anticipating them. That's a key takeaway right off the bat.
It's a must in this industry. Think about it. New threats, new regulations, new client expectations pop up practically every day. If you're not constantly looking ahead, you risk becoming yesterday's news.
Yeah.
Imagine an MSP still focused on basic antivirus software when clients are demanding advanced threat detection and response systems that can handle things like ransomware and zero-day exploits.
Yikes. Talk about a recipe for disaster. So let's say I'm an MSP right now. What are some of those big trends I should be glued to? The kind that might, keep me up at night.
Well, the shift to cloud computing is a huge one.
Okay.
It's not just about knowing the cloud. It's about mastering the complexities of multi-cloud environments and ensuring data compliance across different platforms.
Right.
Then you've got the Internet of Things, or IoT, exploding with billions of devices.
Yeah.
Each one a potential entry point for hackers. And of course, we can't forget about the ever-increasing sophistication of ransomware attacks, which can cripple businesses in a flash.
It's a lot to juggle. So you've got your finger on the pulse. You're aware of those trends. What's the next step in this rebranding journey?
The blog post calls it Understanding Your Brand. And this is where things get really interesting. It's about taking a deep, honest look at how you're perceived, both internally by your team and externally by your clients.
It's kind of like realizing you've been wearing mismatched socks all day. You think everything looks fine, but everyone else is giving you funny looks.
Exactly. And the blog post really highlights the potential disconnect between how an MSP or MSSP thinks it's perceived and the reality of the client experience.
Yeah.
They might pride themselves on their super fast response times, but maybe clients are actually frustrated by a lack of clear communication or proactive problem solving.
Ouch, that's gotta sting.
Yeah.
Have you ever had a similar experience with a brand where their actions just didn't match their promises?
Oh, yeah.
It really erodes your trust, doesn't it?
For sure.
This step of understanding your brand is all about bridging that gap.
Absolutely. It's about uncovering those blind spots and then using that knowledge to strengthen your brand from the inside out.
Okay.
And this ties directly into the next step, which the blog post calls positioning for growth.
Positioning for growth. I like the sound of that. So much more dynamic than just trying to survive. It suggests a forward-thinking strategic mindset.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And that's where defining a crystal clear mission and a unique value proposition comes in. It's about figuring out what truly sets you apart from the competition. Are you the go-to MSP for small businesses who craves personalized service
Right?
and a single point of contact for all their IT needs?
Yeah.
Or are you the cybersecurity powerhouse specializing in enterprise-level threat protection, using cutting-edge AI and machine learning to stay one step ahead of the bad guys?
It sounds like this is where you really start to carve out your niche.
Exactly.
It's not about trying to be everything to everyone. It's about attracting the right clients who resonate with your specific expertise.
Exactly. And while focusing on a niche can be a powerful strategy, there are some who argue that it limits your potential client base. So it's about striking a balance between specialization and appealing to a broader market. How do you reconcile those two seemingly opposing forces?
That's a really good point. So how does an MSP actually go about finding that sweet spot, that unique value proposition that truly resonates with their ideal clients?
It often starts with a deep dive into your existing client base.
Yeah.
What are their common pain points? What do they value most in an IT or cybersecurity partner? What are their biggest fears and aspirations?
It's like putting yourself in their shoes and understanding their world from the inside out.
Exactly. And then you layer that understanding with your own expertise and insights. What are you uniquely qualified to offer?
Right.
What problems can you solve better than anyone else? Where do you see the industry heading?
Yeah.
How can you position yourself at the forefront of that evolution?
Okay, so you've done the internal work, you've analyzed the trends, you've identified your niche, and you've crafted a compelling value proposition. But you still need to make sure the world knows about it, right? Which brings us to step 4 in the blog post, creating a unified identity.
This is where things start to get really visual. It's about creating a cohesive look and feel across all your touch points, from your logo and website to your marketing materials and even your office space.
So this is where the rebranding part really comes into play. We're not just talking about strategy anymore, we're talking about aesthetics, right?
Exactly. And the blog post emphasizes 3 key attributes that this new visual identity should project: professionalism, innovation, and trust.
Mm.
Think about brands like Apple, Google, or Microsoft. Their logos, colors, even their fonts all work together to create a strong, consistent identity that instantly communicates those qualities.
And it's not just about looking slick and modern, it's about making sure those visuals accurately reflect your core values and the promises you're making to clients. If you're a cutting-edge cybersecurity firm, your branding shouldn't look like it's stuck in the 90s.
Exactly. And just as important as the visuals is your messaging. The language you use should be consistent across all platforms and should clearly articulate the specific problems your services solve. It's about cutting through the noise and instantly connecting with your target audience.
So you've spent all this time and energy crafting this amazing new brand identity. Now it's time to unveil it to the world, Raid.
Right.
Step 5 in the blog post is all about taking that vision and making it a reality. They call it from vision to reality.
And this is where meticulous planning and execution are absolutely crucial, especially for MSPs and MSSPs who need to minimize any disruption to their clients' businesses during the transition. The blog post emphasizes a phased rollout, starting internally with your own team.
You got to make sure your own people are on board and understand the new brand before you start shouting it from the rooftops.
Absolutely. It's about getting that internal buy-in first. And then, just as important is clear, consistent communication with your clients throughout the entire process. You want to manage expectations, answer any questions they might have, and reassure them that even though your look might be changing, you're still the same trusted partner they've always relied on. The blog post even recommends having a dedicated FAQ section on your website to address common questions about the rebrand.
Smart move. So, you've launched your new brand, you've popped the champagne, everyone's excited. But the work doesn't stop there, right?
No.
Step 6 in the blog post is all about the long game.
Right. Rebranding isn't a one-time event. It's an ongoing process. And that's where KPIs, or key performance indicators, come into play.
Hold on, back up for a second. For those of us who aren't marketing gurus, can you explain what KPIs are and how they relate to rebranding?
Sure thing. KPIs are essentially measurable values that demonstrate how effectively a company is achieving key business objectives. In the context of rebranding, your KPIs might include things like website traffic, lead generation, client conversion rates, brand awareness,
Right.
and even employee satisfaction.
Uh-huh.
By tracking these metrics, you can gauge the success of your rebrand and make adjustments along the way.
It's like having a dashboard for your brand, where you can see what's working, what's not, and make course corrections as needed.
Exactly. And this ongoing monitoring and adaptation are especially important in the fast-paced world of IT and cybersecurity, where what worked yesterday might be obsolete tomorrow.
So after all that hard work, how do you know if your rebrand is actually successful? What are some signs you should be looking for?
Well, one of the most obvious indicators is an increase in leads and conversions.
Okay.
Are you attracting more potential clients? Are those potential clients turning into paying customers at a higher rate? That's a good sign that your new brand is resonating.
And it's not just about quantity, it's about quality too, right?
Yes.
Are you attracting the right kinds of clients? Those who align with your niche and value proposition?
Absolutely. If you're suddenly inundated with inquiries from clients who are a poor fit for your services, that could be a red flag.
Uh-huh.
It might mean your messaging isn't clear enough or that your new brand is attracting the wrong audience.
Right.
For example, if you specialize in highly secure cloud solutions for healthcare providers, and you're certainly getting calls from restaurants looking for help setting up their Wi-Fi, something's not quite aligned.
That's a hilarious image, like showing up to a black tie gala in a swimsuit, Definitely not the right fit.
Exactly. Another crucial indicator of success is client retention.
Okay.
Are your existing clients happy with the rebrand? Do they feel like it strengthens their relationship with your company? You don't want to alienate your loyal customer base by making drastic changes that don't resonate with them.
Makes sense. So increased leads, higher conversion rates, happy existing client, those are all good signs.
Yes.
What else should we be paying attention to?
Well, a well-executed rebrand can actually make your company more attractive to potential employees, which is essential in today's competitive job market.
Especially in the tech world where skilled professionals are in such high demand.
Right.
A company with a strong brand identity and a clear vision for the future is going to have a leg up in attracting top talent.
That's right. And a strong employer brand can also help you retain your existing employees, reducing turnover and fostering a sense of pride and loyalty within your team.
It's all connected, isn't it?
Yeah,
A successful rebrand can have a ripple effect throughout your entire organization, impacting everything from client acquisition to employee morale.
it really can. And it's not just about the tangible benefits like increased revenue or lower employee turnover.
Right.
A strong brand can also create a sense of purpose and meaning within your company, uniting your team around a shared vision and inspiring them to do their best work.
That's a powerful point. So, we've talked about the why and the how of rebranding, but I'm curious, what are some common pitfalls that MSPs and MSSPs should watch out for during this process? What are the things that can trip them up?
One of the biggest mistakes companies make is rushing the process. Rebranding is a complex undertaking that requires careful planning and execution. It's not something you can just slap together overnight.
Right, it's not just about changing your logo and calling it a day.
Right.
It's about a fundamental shift in how you present yourself to the world, and that takes time and careful consideration.
Yeah.
What else should MSPs and MSSPs be wary of?
Another common mistake is neglecting the internal communication piece.
Okay.
Your employees are your brand ambassadors, and they need to be fully on board with the new brand identity before you launch it to the world. If your team doesn't understand the rebrand or doesn't believe in it, that will show through in their interactions with clients and prospects.
It's like having a beautiful, shiny new car with a sputtering engine. It might look good on the outside, but it's not going to get you very far.
Exactly. And finally, a lot of companies make the mistake of not measuring their results. Remember those KPIs we talked about? It's crucial to track those metrics, to see what's working, what's not, and make adjustments along the way. Otherwise, you're just flying blind.
So before we move on to the next stage of our deep dive, let's recap those key takeaways from the first part of the blog post. We've talked about the importance of staying ahead of the curve by actively researching and anticipating industry trends, understanding your brand from both an internal and external perspective, bridging the gap between perception and reality, positioning for growth by defining a crystal clear mission and a unique value proposition that resonates with your ideal clients, creating a unified identity that projects professionalism, innovation, and trust through your visuals and messaging, launching your new brand with a phased rollout and clear communication to both your team and your clients, and finally, measuring your results using KPIs to track your progress and make adjustments as needed.
That's a great summary. And I think it's important to emphasize that these steps aren't necessarily linear.
Right.
You might go back and forth between them as you gather new information and refine your strategy.
It's a fluid process, constantly evolving and adapting to the ever-changing landscape of the IT and cybersecurity world. Well, that was quite a deep dive into the first part of the blog post, but we've only just scratched the surface. Stay tuned as we continue our exploration of strategic rebranding for MSPs and MSSPs in part 2 of our deep dive.
It's fascinating how this blog post emphasizes that rebranding is not a one-size-fits-all endeavor. It really encourages MSPs and MSSPs to tailor their strategy to their specific needs and goals.
It makes sense, right? It's like you wouldn't wear a tuxedo to a backyard barbecue or a swimsuit to a job interview.
Right.
Your brand needs to be dressed for the occasion, and that occasion is shaped by who you are and who you're trying to reach.
That's such a great analogy. And just like fashion, branding requires staying current. What might have worked 5 years ago might fall flat today.
Which brings us back to something we discussed earlier, the need for MSPs and MSSPs to be constantly scanning the horizon, keeping their finger on the pulse of the industry.
If we connect this back to the larger picture, it's all about agility and adaptability.
Yeah.
The MSP/MSSP market is incredibly dynamic. Those who can't keep up, who can't evolve, They just won't survive.
So let's say you've meticulously followed each of the 6 steps outlined in the blog post. You've launched your shiny new brand. You're diligently tracking your KPIs. What are some telltale signs that it's actually working? What should you be looking for?
Well, one of the most obvious indicators is an increase in leads and conversions.
Okay.
Are you seeing a surge in potential clients reaching out? Are those potential clients converting into paying customers at a higher rate than before?
And it's not just about quantity.
Right.
It's about attracting the right kind of clients, those who truly align with your niche and value proposition.
You hit the nail on the head. If your rebrand suddenly leads to an influx of inquiries from clients who are a poor fit for your services,
Yeah.
that's a signal that your messaging might need some fine-tuning.
It's like, imagine you've opened a boutique specializing in vintage designer handbags, and suddenly you're getting bombarded with requests for knockoff wallets. Something's misaligned there.
Precisely. Another crucial sign to look for is client retention.
Okay.
Are your existing clients happy with the rebrand? Do they feel like the changes you've made strengthen their relationship with your company?
Because losing loyal clients due to a poorly executed rebrand would be a major setback. The goal is to reassure them that you're still the same trusted provider, just with a refreshed and refined identity.
Exactly. And don't forget about the impacts a strong brand can have on talent acquisition. A company with a clear vision, a compelling brand identity, and a reputation for being an innovative leader in the industry that's magnetic to potential employees, especially in a fiercely competitive job market like the tech world.
It's true. In an industry where everyone's vying for the same pool of skilled professionals, a strong brand can be a real differentiator. It can give you a competitive edge in attracting and retaining top talent.
One final thought I'd like to add, and I think it's something the blog post touches upon beautifully, is the power of storytelling. Rebranding is not just about ticking boxes and executing steps. It's about crafting a narrative, a story that resonates with your audience on an emotional level.
Yes. It's about going beyond just listing your services and features. It's about explaining why you do what you do, what impact you have on your clients' lives, and what makes your company truly unique.
Think about iconic brands like Apple or Nike. They're not just selling computers and sneakers. They're selling a story, a set of values that people connect with on a deep, visceral level.
And in a world where consumers are constantly bombarded with information,
Right.
it's those stories, those narratives that cut through the noise and create lasting impressions. It's what makes people choose one brand over another, even if the products or services are virtually identical.
So, dear listener, here's a thought-provoking question for you to ponder. If your MSP or MSSP had to tell its story in just one sentence, what would that sentence be? What's the essence of your brand? What is it that makes you stand out from the crowd?
That's such a brilliant exercise. It forces you to distill your brand down to its core essence and articulate it in a way that's both concise and impactful.
And what's interesting is that this exercise isn't just valuable for MSPs and MSSPs. Any business, any individual can benefit from taking the time to define their brand story. Think about your own work, your own company, your own personal brand. What's your one-sentence story?
I love that challenge. It really gets you thinking about the heart of what you do and why it matters. This blog post has been chock full of actionable insights, but that question about the one-sentence brand story, that's the one that's really sticking with me. It's so simple, yet so profound.
Sometimes the simplest questions are the ones that lead us to the most profound answers.
Absolutely. And it's a great reminder that rebranding is not just about aesthetics or marketing tactics. It's about tapping into something deeper, something more meaningful. It's about aligning your external image with your internal values and beliefs.
You've perfectly captured the essence of what we've been discussing. It's about authenticity, it's about clarity, it's about connecting with your audience on a deeper level.
Well said. But even with all this talk about storytelling and values, we can't lose sight of the practicalities of rebranding, especially for MSPs and MSSPs who operate in a world driven by technology and data.
Absolutely. A strong brand narrative is essential, but it needs to be backed up by a solid foundation of technical expertise and operational excellence. Let's delve into some of those practical considerations that MSPs and MSSPs need to address during the rebranding process.
Okay, let's get down to brass tacks. What are some of the key technical aspects that MSPs and MSSPs should focus on when rebranding?
One crucial area is aligning your technology stack and service offerings with your new brand identity. If you're repositioning yourself as a cutting-edge cloud security provider, but your technology infrastructure is outdated, or you lack expertise in the latest cloud security solutions, that disconnect will be quickly apparent to potential clients.
It's like advertising yourself as a gourmet chef, but only having a microwave in your kitchen. You need the tools and skills to back up your claims.
Exactly. Another critical aspect is ensuring that your internal systems and processes are aligned with your new brand promise. If you're emphasizing speed and responsiveness as core values, but your internal ticketing system is clunky or your customer support team is understaffed,
Right.
those inconsistencies will create a negative client experience that undermines your entire rebranding effort.
So it's not just about the outward-facing elements of your brand. It's about making sure that your internal operations are in sync with your brand promise.
Precisely. And this alignment extends to your data security practices as well. If you're an MSSP, your brand is built on trust and expertise in cybersecurity. Any data breaches or security lapses can severely damage that trust and undo all the hard work you've put into building your new brand.
It's like a bank advertising its state-of-the-art security system while simultaneously leaving its vault door wide open.
Exactly. A strong brand needs to be built on a foundation of demonstrable results and a commitment to upholding the highest standards of security and compliance.
So we've talked about aligning your technology, your processes, and your security practices with your new brand. What about the human element? How can MSPs and MSSPs ensure that their team embraces the rebrand and becomes true brand ambassadors?
That's a crucial aspect of a successful rebrand. It's not enough to simply tell your team about the new brand. You need to involve them in the process, get their buy-in, and empower them to become champions of the brand.
It's like creating a movement within your organization where everyone is passionate about the brand and its mission.
Exactly. And one way to achieve that is through ongoing training and development programs that help your team understand the nuances of the new brand, its messaging, and its value proposition.
You need to equip them with the knowledge and tools to effectively communicate the brand to clients, partners, and prospects.
Absolutely. And it's not just about providing information, it's about fostering a culture of brand ownership, where everyone feels connected to the brand and proud to represent it.
This could involve things like internal brand launch events, contests, and incentives that encourage team members to embrace the new brand and share its story.
Exactly. And it's important to recognize and reward employees who go above and beyond to embody the brand and deliver exceptional client experiences that align with the brand promise.
So to recap, MSPs and MSSPs need to approach rebranding from a holistic perspective, addressing both the strategic and practical considerations.
Absolutely. It's about aligning your technology processes, security practices, and your team with your new brand identity, and ensuring that your internal operations reflect the values and promises you're making to the world.
That's a lot to consider, but it seems like the potential rewards of a well-executed rebrand are significant.
They absolutely are. A strategic rebrand can help MSPs and MSSPs differentiate themselves in a crowded marketplace, attract and retain top talent, build stronger client relationships, and ultimately drive sustainable growth and success.
Welcome back to our deep dive into the world of strategic rebranding for MSPs and MSSPs. We've covered a lot of ground so far, from the 6 key steps outlined in the blog post to the importance of storytelling and the financial considerations of rebranding. But now it's time to look ahead to the future.
That's right. The world of IT and cybersecurity is constantly evolving, and the way MSPs and MSSPs brand themselves needs to evolve too.
So what are some of the emerging trends and strategies that are shaping the future of rebranding in this space? What should MSPs and MSSPs be paying attention to if they want to stay ahead of the curve?
Well, one trend that's becoming increasingly important is the focus on specialization.
Okay.
As the IT and cybersecurity landscape becomes more complex, clients are looking for providers with deep expertise in specific areas.
So instead of trying to be a jack of all trades, MSPs and MSSPs are niching down and becoming masters of one.
Exactly. For example, we're seeing more MSPs specializing in cloud migration, data analytics, or cybersecurity for specific industries like healthcare or finance.
This specialization allows them to differentiate themselves from the competition and command higher prices for their specialized services.
Precisely. And this trend towards specialization is also impacting branding.
Okay.
MSPs and MSSPs need to clearly communicate their niche expertise in their brand messaging and visuals.
So their brand needs to reflect not just what they do, but who they do it for and how their specialized skills set them apart.
Exactly. Another trend that's shaping the future of rebranding is the rise of artificial intelligence, AI, and machine learning.
AI is everywhere these days, so it's not surprising to see it impacting the world of branding. But how exactly is AI being used in rebranding for MSPs and MSSPs?
Well, for starters, AI-powered tools can help MSPs and MSSPs analyze vast amounts of data to gain insights into their target audience, their competitors, and the overall market landscape.
So they can use AI to understand their clients better, identify their strengths and weaknesses, and find opportunities to differentiate themselves.
Precisely, AI can also be used to personalize the branding experience. For example, AI-powered chatbots can provide potential clients with customized information about services, pricing, and case studies based on their specific needs and interests.
It's like having a virtual branding assistant working 24/7 to engage potential clients and nurture those relationships.
Exactly, and AI can even be used to create brand assets such as logos, website designs, and marketing copy.
Wow, that's amazing. So AI can handle the heavy lifting, freeing up MSPs and MSSPs to focus on strategy and client relationships.
Exactly. Of course, it's important to remember that AI is a tool, not a replacement for human creativity and strategic thinking.
It's about finding the right balance between human expertise and AI-powered insights.
Absolutely. Another trend that's worth mentioning is the growing importance of sustainability and social responsibility in branding.
Clients are increasingly looking for brands that align with their values, including sustainability and social impact. How are MSPs and MSSPs incorporating these values into their rebranding efforts?
Well, for starters, many MSPs and MSSPs are highlighting their commitment to environmentally friendly practices, such as using renewable energy, reducing waste, and promoting paperless solutions.
It's about walking the walk, not just talking the talk.
Exactly. MSPs and MSSPs are also showcasing their commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion, DE&I, in their branding.
This could include highlighting their diverse workforce, supporting organizations that promote DE&I, and ensuring that their marketing materials reflect the diversity of their client base.
Exactly. And some MSPs and MSSPs are even incorporating social impact initiatives into their branding.
For example, they might partner with nonprofit organizations to provide technology services or cybersecurity training to underserved communities.
Exactly. By aligning their brand with these important values, MSPs and MSSPs can attract clients who share those values and build a brand that stands for something more than just profit.
It's about building a brand with purpose. So we've talked about specialization, AI, and sustainability. What other trends are on the horizon for rebranding in the MSP and MSSP space?
One trend that I'm particularly excited about is the rise of immersive technologies, such as virtual reality, VR, and augmented reality, AR.
VR and AR are transforming the way we experience the world, so it's only natural that they would start to impact branding. But how can MSPs and MSSPs leverage these technologies in their rebranding efforts?
Well, imagine a potential client putting on a VR headset and being transported into a virtual representation of their network infrastructure.
They could see their servers, their data flows, their security vulnerabilities, all in a visually immersive and interactive way.
Exactly. And your MSP or MSSP could use AR to overlay real-time security alerts or performance metrics onto the client's physical environment.
It's like giving clients X-ray vision into their IT systems.
Precisely. These immersive technologies can create a truly engaging and memorable brand experience that sets you apart from the competition.
It's about going beyond traditional marketing materials and creating a truly immersive and interactive brand world.
Exactly. And as these technologies become more accessible and affordable, we can expect to see more MSPs and MSSPs incorporating them into their rebranding strategies.
So to recap, some of the key trends shaping the future of rebranding for MSPs and MSSPs include specialization, where providers focus on specific niches and communicate their expertise clearly. The use of AI and machine learning to gain insights, personalize experiences, and create brand assets. Incorporating sustainability and social responsibility into branding to align with client values. Leveraging immersive technologies like VR and AR to create engaging and memorable brand experiences.
That's a great summary, and it's important to remember that these trends are interconnected. For example, specialization and AI can work together to create highly targeted and personalized brand experiences.
It's about finding the right mix of strategies and technologies to create a brand that's future-proof and resonates with your ideal clients.
Absolutely. I think we've covered a lot of ground in our deep dive into the world of strategic rebranding for MSPs and MSSPs. We've explored the fundamental steps, the importance of storytelling, the financial considerations, the key trends, and even the future of rebranding.
It's been an incredibly insightful journey, and I feel like I've gained a whole new perspective on the power of branding in the IT and cybersecurity space.
Me too. And I hope our listeners feel equipped to embark on their own rebranding adventures, armed with the knowledge and insights we've shared today.
Absolutely. So as we wrap up this final part of our deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with one final thought. Rebranding is not just about changing your logo or your website. It's about transforming your entire organization from the inside out.
It's about aligning your values, your mission, and your brand. Promise to create a company that's authentic, compelling,
Right.
and truly stands out in the marketplace.
It's about building a brand that inspires your team, resonates with your clients, and positions you for success in the ever-evolving world of IT and cybersecurity.
Well said.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep your brand shining bright.